Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show. America!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be recapping the international break that was for America over in Dallas, the 2-0 victory over against Chivas in the Superclásico USA. We're going to be talking a little bit about some Coapa news, and of course, we're also going to be previewing the upcoming match against Mazatlan. Alrighty then, and of course, joining me as always, and because one of the big reasons as to why we pushed the podcast a little bit late today is none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ. AJ, how are you, my man?
Doing good. Trying to a little bit of pain, but here I am and excited, ready to talk all things Club America as always.
Definitely. Glad you can make it on. Glad you were able to get out of that New York traffic. We know that is no joke, especially someone who has witnessed LA traffic. It is, it's definitely something. And of course, joining us today is none other than honorary co-host himself, Mr. Ivan Hernandez. Ivan, how are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? Happy to be here once again. And yeah, just ready to talk all things Águilas.
Definitely. And you know what? Before we start, I do want to say that we our best wishes and prayers go out to everyone right now in Mexico City after and not just Mexico City but Mexico in general. We know that Mexico City isn't the only part that was affected by the earthquake that just happened. A lot of talks about 7 point something magnitude earthquake. All we do hope is that everyone is okay, everyone is safe, and best of wishes, to everyone down there in Mexico. And we hope that everyone is fine and hopefully everyone is okay. But I do want to start off the podcast with that, acknowledging that because it is breaking news and it is something that, of course, affects all of us, since knowing that we have family down there, hoping everyone is safe and sound in that aspect. Also, on another note, I do want to give a huge shout out to Ivan himself, because he was just detrimental in making the Liga MX English community match happen, and everything that happened in that day that you guys saw in and around. Ivan, so thank you so much. I just want to come on the record and say thank you for helping us out with everything, man. And I mean everything. You were a vital part of it all, so thank you, man.
No, of course, man. It's my pleasure to host the community in my own backyard. That field that we played on is a field that's near and dear to me. Grew up on that field, and now I get to give back to the community on that field.
Definitely. We got some people already coming in, asking a couple of questions, saying we freed AJ, but not Christian. Christian is still yet stuck in traffic. And then we have Chris also saying, AJ, did you find that training kit at Ross? ?
Man, I don't know how to answer that.
So that's probably a yes, Chris. Okay, it was in the sale, and of course, AJ's always in the know about where to get his kits. But like we mentioned, gentlemen, we were going to talk Superclásico USA. I'll give you guys a little bit of an insight of what happened. I was able to go down there, be there present myself. We'll get into that, and we'll talk a little bit about some Coapa news. Christian would have been the one in charge of it, but since he's not here, I'll step in and kind of give you guys, shed some light into what's going on in and around the world of America, get these guys' two perspective on everything. And then, of course, we're going to be talking Mazatlan versus America. Big game right before the CONCACAF Champions League matchup that we have next week against Philly at Philadelphia. So that's something to kind of take into note in regards to how this America side is going to line up against Mazatlan. But without further ado, gentlemen, let's get started. Let's talk America versus Chivas in USA territory. America ended up coming to Dallas in what was a hot, and I mean hot, day in Dallas, gentlemen. We were talking 97 degrees and up with a humidity of about 40 to 50%, and that was no joke whatsoever. The game was played at the Cotton Bowl, a very much legendary stadium in Dallas, and what can I tell you guys? The atmosphere was really what makes these games what they are at the end of the day. AJ, your dad was present at the game. He can attest to what I'm about to say. There's nothing like an America game here in the States, because it has kind of this ambience that you just don't regularly get, not in an MLS game, and not even in a home game at the Estadio Azteca. You see the flares, you see the drums, you see you know the what are those what are those called, AJ? The strings that they throw out on the pitch. Come on.
Like silly string. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's all of that. It's all of that, and it really makes the atmosphere. I mean, you guys saw it from TV.
Mhm.
Like at one point, it was just yellow. Like it was just yellow smoke
Yeah.
everywhere, and like you're like, who's playing in what position? But honestly, the fans that made the travel, the fans that were there, absolutely made them make the game for what it is. And really truly it's always, and I've said this before, it's always a pleasure being able to go and cover these games because they are just unbelievable to see what the fans are capable of doing. And again, America, I think, is the real winner out of this because, whilst Chivas did have their supporters, I will say this, and our good friend Kari, may she be listening to this or not, can attest to the fact that it was mostly America fans in the stands. I would say it was roughly a 60-40 in the stands. I would even push it a little bit and say 70-30, but we'll give it the 60-40 and a pretty good attendance as well. Well over 30,000 in a hot day in Dallas, Texas. Believe me, it was no joke. But yeah, no, the fans were there. It was amazing. But AJ, let's talk a little bit about this game. You were able to watch the game consistently as you were helping me out with some of these gifts. What takeaway do you get from this? Right, 2-0 victory at the end of the day. We left it a little bit late to secure the W, but overall, a victory is a victory, especially against Chivas. AJ. Oh, I think we lost AJ for a second.
Oh, wait, no. Okay, I heard the last couple of parts, just like what the takeaways from this game. Just
Yeah.
overall, it was a great feeling. It just seems like the players from the get go, even though it's a friendly, it's a super classical, so you know what's at stake here. This is essentially like a mini preview to what's to come up for in the season. And just all in all, America gave it their all. They really didn't really allow Chivas at any point in time to take over in the entire game. For the get go, America, we had to score, and look, we did. In 50 seconds, we scored, and from there on out, they knew it was game on at this point as soon as the ball got rolled. So all in all, just really nice to see this America side get the victory against Chivas, and they seem to play really well in my eyes, and can't wait to see how they play in the season against them.
Definitely. No, definitely. And Viñas, like you mentioned, getting on the scoreboard 54 seconds into the match. Trust me, watching that, it was definitely a delight to see Viñas getting back on the scoring sheet in the way that he does. As a player that has been struggling with injuries and with this kind of cloud looming over him that Solari may not be, he may not be in Solari's favorite pick. What do you think this goal does for him?
I mean, I think that anytime you're coming off an injury, battling the injury bug, to score, just period. It doesn't matter where it is, who's watching, who you're playing against. It's big. It's a confidence builder. It kind of gives you, it helps you refocus your mindset. To just kind of like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna bounce back, and kind of to backpedal a little bit what you're saying in the atmosphere that the fans of America bring in the States in particular. I think that, no, what better place than to do that, even though it's an exhibition match, and even though, it was really hot and all the things that kind of, people would say, game doesn't really matter. It's being played in the States. It's in the FIFA week, it's just, it's a money grab, like they say, right? For him, I'm sure that meant everything to score in front of a majority America crowd, to score coming off of an injury, and so early in the game, to kind of really just show them that they're here to, like AJ said, to really kind of duke it out for the game, regardless of what it actually means. I think it's important for his confidence. It's important for the team and the players that got to play that maybe don't get the minutes regularly. And I think more than anything, I think it sends them into, when they do have a Super Clasico in a couple of weeks here in September, on the right leg, knowing that, hey, we got you guys in a exhibition match, and we're coming to get you guys in the regular season too.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it perfectly because I think Viñas needed this game because it was always going to be hard to fit him in somewhere because of, the fact that you have Roger who wants to play that number 9 role, and you have Henry who's come off a pretty good Olympic run, and whilst maybe he hasn't found his footing in the league yet, that he's capable of doing stuff. So like you mentioned, Viñas in this game, absolutely amazing. And I'll say this much too: things that maybe you can't notate when you're watching the game, but as you're there on the field, there's a lot of important stuff that he was doing. A lot of physical battles that he was winning, and a lot of good, interesting runs that he was making as well. So Vinas definitely, I would say, has lifted his hand up and maybe has poked a hole in Solari's book and said, okay, you know what, maybe possibly he could get some minutes against Mazatlan. And Jacob asking here, do you guys think Vinas should start against Mazatlan? I think he deserves to be honest. AJ, your thoughts on Vinas and his performance?
Really solid. It seems like, Henry Marte hasn't really been the most consistent player as of recent, ever since he came back from the Olympics. And when Vinas got the opportunity to start, he stepped right up and scored a goal. And I think at that point, that might have just shown signs at Solai saying, start me. If you really need someone to just get you the goals and have an impact on me from the get-go, put me in. Especially since, he's got a good record in CONCACAF. It's coming right up. And I feel like this is the time really to start giving Vinas minutes again, to start him getting back his form that we first saw when he first arrived in America.
Definitely. You know what? Vinas was, I think, sunburned after the 26th minute of the match. They did a zoom in and he looked red as a shrimp. So hopefully they put some olive, I was gonna say olive oil, but no, not olive oil.
Yeah, I know, sunscreen.
Yeah, some sunscreen, some aloe vera. Because the man's definitely gonna need it. But no, yeah, it's good. It's a confidence booster. And another player that maybe isn't highlighted that big because he didn't get on the score sheet, but I thought had some pretty interesting first 30 minutes was Benedetti. I think he also had a pretty good important game. AJ, you saw him. He was moving stuff around. He was causing havoc. He wasn't really hitting all the strides, but you saw some good stuff from him.
Yeah, no, just looked really solid, gave himself involved in every play. Unfortunately, he wasn't really able to finish the shots that he did happen to get. Would have been nice to get his name on the score sheet, but all in all, what's most important, he did not come out with any kind of injury whatsoever that I know of. No dust got into his eyes. His toenail didn't fall off, so that's good. It's good to see that he played a good amount. Nothing bad happened. So all in all, though, happy to see that he's back, gained some minutes. So it's good things.
Yeah, it's always important to get those minutes under your belt, especially like we mentioned, two players that we thought maybe weren't even going to see that much minutes in Vinas and Benedetti. Now, two players that potentially get themselves on a pretty good track record, and who knows, we might see them against Mazatlan because look, it is a hectic week if you think about it. I mean, these players that are in their national team have to come back on Thursday. And luckily enough, it's a home game against Mazatlan, so they don't have to travel, but they have to train, they have to get ready, and then they have to, play against Mazatlan. And then afterwards, we have to go travel to Philadelphia, AJ. And then we have to come back home, and then we have to go and, travel to Toluca, which, again, granted, isn't that far, but still, it's a road game. And so it's like boom, 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 fast, quick. It's just, these players are going to be gassed. And I feel bad for them because FIFA really threw them under the bus, saying you were going to play 3 international games and you guys are just going to have to figure it out. And so that's going to be interesting to see how well our squad depth is, which I think we might have a pretty good squad depth up front in that number 9 position and even in the cam position, because I think you have Fidalgo, Cordoba, and Benedetti who can play those roles. It's that right wing side, AJ, that worries me the most, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, no, good stuff, promising stuff. I mean, let's talk about the fact that whilst America does leave it late, the kid youngster Emilio Lara gets himself on the score sheet. This is a player that a lot of us were talking about. A lot of us wanted to see him get some minutes, especially in these type of games. Comes up big, scores a goal. I mean, as for a youngster, what does this kind of do for him, Ivan?
I mean, it's kind of same as Vinas, it's a confidence builder. I think that regardless of, I'm kind of pretty much say the same thing in the sense that regardless of kind of where you're playing, who you're playing against, where it's at, time, place, it could be on Mars, it doesn't matter. You get on a score sheet playing with first team players, it means everything to you, and it really carries you forward. And I think that, with that, though, has to come how you guys are saying, like, okay, so now what happens now? What happens next? Because it does nothing for these guys to get on the score sheet and play well and perform well in the next exhibition game, and then you go back to Liga and your number doesn't get called. Then the opposite starts to happen, right? You start to kind of wonder, what am I doing wrong, or what do I need to do again? So it's really important that when these players get on the field, especially the youngsters, they fight every ball. They a rendirse, because at the end of the day, that's how minutes are won, and that's how you win positions over. And I think that to your point, you were saying earlier about squad depth. I think that also plays a factor into that. You have all these weird situations to travel, and between now and March, we're going to continue to have the three fixtures for the selección. So there's going to be guys that are going to be out, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for some of these guys to step up into the roles. And yeah, I'm not saying necessarily win the role over, but definitely prove that when they're in the field, they can perform.
Definitely, I think that's the most important thing, and I think that's what Solari wanted to see from these players was that, hey, I just need to know that you can step up to the moment. And I think for the most part, the majority definitely raised their hand. I thought Fernando Madrigal had himself quite the game. AJ. I thought he was a pretty good, solid player. Do I think he's a starter with the players that we have? Probably not. But I always said he's coming in and trying to do a Joe Corona role where he's not necessarily going to be the starter, but if you need to fill in spots here and there, he's your man. And so he looked very solid, very comfortable on the ball. And that brings me a little bit of, comfort in knowing that, all right, we have someone off the bench that can come in and do the job. And also, surprisingly enough, our center back partnership between Bruno and Aguilera actually looked pretty solid this game, AJ. And that's something I didn't expect to see. I saw Aguilera making some runs that I only see my center back in Sunday League make, where he just thinks he's going to be able to take everyone and anyone on. And he almost got there. So it was interesting to see that, confidence from not just Emma, but Bruno himself, who's the captain for that game. So again, another clean sheet for this defense, whilst it is a friendly, but again, something to boost that morale. And I think, Ivan, we keep touching on that note. All of this at the end of the day is a confidence booster. And that's why I kind of want to go back to you and say, what are these type of game, put yourself in a coach perspective, because I know you do coach. What do these type of games do for your squad, especially knowing that you're coming up and playing quote unquote an exhibition match, but it's against your biggest rival and against fans that were just cheering you on throughout the whole 90 minutes. What does this type of game do for you morale wise or mentally for these upcoming games?
Definitely, and I think just kind of touch all perspectives, both player, manager, everything involved. I think that really this game in particular, right? Chivas America in the States, in between international break, I think is the closest thing that you can get to viewing your players play in real situations without being a meaningful game. Because every team plays preseason games. In Liga MX, they do it a little different. You kind of pretty much play your neighboring teams, or you kind of maybe play a team from the Ascenso or whatever. But those games are kind of just to kind of get guys fit, if we're being honest, right? Mm-hmm. But for these younger kids, or these guys that are coming off an injury, that don't see many minutes, this is as close as it gets as playing in an actual game against a rival that you actually want to beat, that you care about beating. Your competitive nature is going to show. And then again, with fans that are there to support you before the game starts to after the game is over, so I think it's the ideal situation as a manager to see these players get some minutes and see what they can do. And I'm pretty sure that pen to paper went down for Solari, and he took some notes and probably saw some things that he liked. He probably saw some things he didn't like, and I think it's just first and foremost, you hope that nobody gets hurt, which, like AJ said, I think we're all clear there. So yes. That's check mark. Second, you got the W, and third, you got some confidence going for some of these guys, and hopefully it can really translate to them filling in the gaps for these guys that we keep mentioning that are going to be out in international break.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is going to be interesting to see how we go moving forward, because like we mentioned, squad depth is so important in this next month as well. I mean, we're talking about an international break just 3 weeks from now, well, a little bit more than 3 weeks, but less than 4. Point is, there's a lot of games coming up for these players, so it's going to be exhausting. It's going to be a lot of rotation, and hopefully America can do the job correctly. And I know this all falls under Solari, but it's panning to look like it's going so far so good, AJ.
Yeah, no, just we're still undefeated in the league. That's one thing. Yeah, I mean, Stossel's been looking solid so far, which is nice to see. faces that you really just don't see on the team that are getting starting minutes or so. They're getting sometimes to improve themselves on the field and side. And who knows, maybe in the future under Solari they'll have something, especially for these youngsters. It's just to see players from the cantera just gain some minutes, see and show everyone to what the fans what could be the future generation for Club America. And look at players like that, like Emilio Lara. Look what he was able to do just to see him in that final third, get himself in that position to score his first goal in an America jersey in the senior team. And for a moment like him, he really embraced it. He was really happy. Even all of his teammates were just happy to see a youngster like him after all that he's done to get to the first team playing amistoso and score his first goal. So that's what you like to see all in all. But so far, so good under Solai. We're doing pretty good and holds a lot of promise for the upcoming matches for the future for America.
Definitely talking about being excited. There was a fan that got a little too excited in that last goal. AJ ran out of the stands into the players and hugged them and celebrated with them.
I think he was able to that.
Was able to take a jersey and hop his way back into the stands. So seeing that live, it was pretty funny.
I kid you not. I really thought that was like one of the guys who supplies with the kids in the team. That's what I thought. But then when I'm thinking, I was like, I don't see anything from that. So, but the guys didn't notice. They were all too busy celebrating Emilio Lara's goal. So hey, he had the right mind. He's like, I'm going in.
He snuck in and he snuck his way back. It was hilarious. Let me tell you.
But that just proves that when you do that, you just gotta own it. No hesitation. Just get in there, get out. No one's gonna question you. But also, everyone has phones, so they're coming after you, my guy.
Yeah. Oh, he was everywhere. After the game was over, his face was plastered everywhere on Twitter. Like we were just in the press box. I was with Kari. We were just like, because I told her, I was like, there's a fan right there celebrating with them. She's like, what? And so then I came back and I showed her. I was like, look. And then she was like, oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, it was one thing to take for that part. But you're right, AJ. Promising things coming forward, and hopefully things again continue to be as steady as they have been. And so far Solari's doing, I think, more than a good job in regards to how he's been able to manage all of this. But again, that is a Super Clasico in the United States. I just want to say thank you to everyone that participated in our previews, whether we were able to take a picture of you, video of you. I know I had a couple of people come up to me, and it was great to meet all of you guys, say what's up. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you for all the support. And thank you for making this a possibility, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to go to these games. We wouldn't be able to be behind the scenes and bring you guys content from the stadium. And to every Americanista out there that went and made the scene what it was at the Cotton Bowl, thank you, because you guys really, really made it all worth it at the end of the day. And a huge shout out to Primetime Sports for organizing this event. I mean, completely outdid themselves. Again, they did a great job with the fan festival. I think they did a really good job organizing the way the game was put out. And so again, Primetime, congratulations again. You guys outdid yourselves. And again, Dallas, what can I say? Every time I go, that leaves me with a little bit of joy. So thank you to everyone out there that made it a possibility. And if anyone has any questions in regards to when the next Tour Aguila date is going to be, well, that game is officially going to be in October. The first weekend of October is the second. So no, it's the second weekend of October, which is going to be the 9th. So for all of you in California, the game is going to be played in quote unquote Los Angeles, although Ivan gets mad at me whenever I say that, because it's not LA. It's going to be in Carson, California, at the StubHub Center at
StubHub Center.
Sorry, Dignity Health Sports Park. Sorry, it's
you changed your name so many times you can't even keep up yourself. Look at
this. Maybe. Point is, the game's gonna be there. So everyone who bought tickets to this game already from last year, before the pandemic hit, your tickets are still valid. So make sure that you guys do claim your ticket if you guys still have it from last year. You guys can reach out to Ticketon. They will give you guys up to date all the information. And to everyone who's going to be coming out traveling, let us know. And we would love to make sure to have you guys on the podcast, on our Twitter page, on our Instagram, doing some great content. So thank you so much to everyone. And we hope to see you guys soon for the next game in the Clásico Capitolino against Pumas at Dignity's Health Sports Park. So hope to see you guys very, very soon in that aspect. But all right, then, gentlemen, let's move on quickly here. Let's talk Guapa news in the world of America. We got Chris saying I might be there if tickets are available. Chris, tickets are still available. Believe me, it's not sold out,
I'm
and
looking at them
we
right now,
will let
Chris.
you
They're
know.
$40, brother. $40.
Yeah, $40 right now, Chris. So you can go hop on ticketon.com and you can go buy tickets right now. Not just for Chris, but for everyone who is interested in going. You guys can go and secure yourselves some tickets right now. But Coapa news, we were talking. So some pretty big news coming out in the world of Coapa. AJ, it looks like again America seems to be flirting with this Granada player. Yet I don't think it's actually going to become a reality. I think it's all smoke at this point. Can't remember his name though. What is it? Machis?
Yeah,
It's
Darwin
Machis, right?
Machis.
Okay.
Darwin
Darwin
Machis.
Machis. Thank you. Darwin Machis again being heavily rumored with America, but again, I think it's all tabloid news at this point. I don't see this actually being a reality. Granada doesn't want to let him go on loan. They want him on a permanent sale. America doesn't have the money, and to be honest, we should not be spending that ridiculous amount on a 28-year-old. That is ridiculous. Like, come on, 12 million pounds for that guy? Like, no, not worth it. So that is not going to be possibility. And like Chris said, we can't afford it. Even if Mediga wanted to, we don't have 12 million. If we can barely scrap up 10, so that's not going to be a possibility. So it looks like I keep mentioning, it doesn't look like anyone's coming. Benedetti was going supposedly to leave to Mazatlan. All of that broke down, and now we are officially stuck with Benedetti for the remainder of the season. I say that and it sounds like a bad thing, but who knows? Might be a good thing at the end of the day. As far as any more additions, there was this rumor that I don't know where they got this from, but a Dani Alves potentially coming to America.
Yo, I saw that on Instagram. I follow this like meme account just because I just see what kind of ridiculous stuff they come up with. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a really big Dani Alves fan. So I saw that one and I thought, nah. However, though, if it did happen, I'd buy that shirt.
Yeah, no, I know you would, but look,
I'd buy that
it makes
shirt.
no sense from an American perspective.
It doesn't.
We have 2 right backs already. Like
Bye, Jorge.
we don't need.
Bye, Rayun. Bye.
I mean, he can play wingback. He can play him wherever you want to play him. He'll play.
Honestly,
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see it but if come on, would we really spend it on an international spot on a right back if George leaves? Like, I just don't see it.
I mean,
which by the way,
right back, right mid, right forward, right bench. He's right everything. He's right hand man.
He's just all that right hand side. Okay, but yeah, I don't know where that Dani Alves rumor came. I give it like a 2 out of 10 for possibility. So again, that is off the tables. And that just pretty much wraps up as to players linked in and around the club. Correct, AJ?
Yep.
Yeah. So again, guys, don't get your hopes up. I already told you guys this from the beginning. We're not signing anyone. This look. The only positive thing here, AJ, is that Miguel Herrera has asked for Santiago Baños, and that is the only positive thing we could take away from this. Now, is it gonna be possibly happening? I don't know. Tigres have to give the okay. I think the guy who's doing his job at Tigres has been doing a pretty good job, so I don't know why they would want to get rid of him. But again, Miguel Herrera has some pull, so we'll see.
I mean, I thought he kind of did always have a thing for him,
yeah.
So,
That's
but
right-hand man.
Sell him for like quadruple what he's worth, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, Santiago Baños possibly could be leaving America. We'll see. Well, as more stuff comes out, we'll let you guys know.
Fichazo bombazo for Tigres.
Yeah, definitely. Look, they got their own issues, and they've wanted.
Listen, man, if we're signing them, I just feel really strongly about selling those guys players. So if we're gonna sell them a player, I really want like kind of like in the Premier League where like if United signs to Chelsea, they sell him for like 50 times what he's worth. Like that's what I need America to do.
Whenever we sell to Tigres or Monterrey, that's what we got to do.
Just inflation.
Of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Mexican player is already inflated enough. I mean, tons of examples. I mean, tons. But as far as that's pretty much it, right, AJ? As far as transfers in and outs. As injury updates, the only thing I have here is a potential Renato Ibarra return. but that is still on the fence. I think they're still trying to get medical clearance from that to give him the go ahead. Even then, I think he would potentially, and this is a lot of quotation marks, potentially coming back towards the end of the season. But again, I don't see how that actually happens. I think Solari, we know Solari. He's always been the type of manager to never risk a player. And I mean, look, he told Leo Suarez, go get your surgery before you ruin your career and just take the rest of the season off. So I don't think he would rush any player. Not even in a right wing position that we desperately need. So I think for those people asking whether or not Ibarra would come back for the season, I don't necessarily expect it. I think that this is just a lot of smoke at the moment, and we'll see whether or not it actually pans out. But again, as far as injury reports go, that is the only update I have, AJ. Unless you have anything else.
No, that's about it.
That is about it, right? That is all we have for the moment. Alrighty then. All right, gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about Mazatlan. But before we do, let's remind everyone that today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out EEP. Check out EEP. Check out footcult.com and use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. I have to say, AJ, they've dropped some amazing merch for the past couple of months. And if you guys like that, just wait what's coming up for the winter, for the fall. They have some really good, cool stuff lined up with what they have coming out, and we're gonna try to do something special with them as well. So, some pretty cool stuff happening with Footcall. And if you guys want to get a little bit of the gear, make sure you guys go check them out. Footcall.com. Use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. And thank you to Footcall for sponsoring today's episode. All right. Chris saying America versus La Banda Recodo. Wonder why he said that. He's like, there was also an article about America wanting Castillo back in the summer, which I have several opinions towards that. I don't think he's coming back necessarily, depending on how his loan spell goes. Again, don't expect him to come back so quickly. Chris saying EEP hoodies is what I need, and maybe that's exactly what we need to work on. Let's get everyone nicely geared up for the winter. AJ, you know a little thing or two about the cold, so I'm pretty sure you'd be able to help us with that hoodie design.
I don't think a hoodie cuts it for his weather. I think this man needs a jacket from New York for New York.
Seriously, I don't know how you guys do it, AJ. Don't know how you guys do it.
A sweater's all you need, and some Timbs, you good. That's all you need.
Right.
Nice. I love the very New York essence of it, AJ. I really do. So we got AJ with that EEP Timbs.
Oh, hell yeah. You know what's up.
It'll be the first pair of yellow and blue Timbs ever to be put out.
Hey, we'll make it work, man. We'll make it work. All right.
Yeah.
We know a thing or two about fashion over here. We know a thing or two. All right, guys. Now I know why he said America versus La Banda Recodo, because America's going up against Mazatlan. I was a little bit lost there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this Saturday's game against Mazatlan. Game's going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Game's at home in the Estadio Azteca live via through the NA. AJ, what can we expect from this matchup, right? I don't expect most of these international players to get minutes because, let's be honest, you want to secure them for Philadelphia. You don't want to risk them. And if anything, you probably give them 25 minutes at most.
Yeah, no. Just it feels to be like one of those games like last time where we did go away against Mazatlan. I mean, we still play them. Ended really in a 1-0 draw. A 1-0 win. We just really weren't able to do much. We won the game because of an own goal, but we'll take that. But I feel like maybe this game could be something different this time. Just see some of the new faces who you saw play against Chivas. Give them some minutes. Who knows? The youngsters, this could be an opportunity for them to just get a start. Who knows? Maybe we see one of them start or something, or just get some minutes at least. I have to see that. But we're in first. Mazatlan's currently in 12th. The only player I would really just be on the lookout for is Emilio Sanveso. He's their go-to player when it comes to them scoring goals. He's got 5 games played and 3 goals scored. So really, I'd be for him on the lookout. I mean, hey, it's a little bit of an America reunion considering they have like some of our players from there. So, and who knows, maybe Mario Osuna could get the chance to play against him. He did make his debut against Chivas in the friendly. So
Will be interesting to see if Lay the Legs plays a little bit of an advantage there. Whilst I don't expect him to actually get some minutes in this game, AJ. Maybe off the bench, but off the start, I really don't expect Osuna to get some minutes. Christine, I wouldn't be surprised if Ochoa still starts though, and you know what? He's the only one that probably would. And I'm surprised he's played as many games as he has in the World Cup qualifiers. I thought he was going to get rested for the game against Costa Rica. Didn't.
No
I like
rest.
it though. I like it. And it looks like he's going to be starting against Panama tomorrow as well. Which again,
I mean, can I jump in there right quick with that?
Yeah, jump in there.
Kind of not Aguilas, but Ochoa. Okay. So, um, from a manager perspective, I think he's doing the right thing in playing him every game, right? Because if that's going to be your guy, come Qatar, come the rest of the qualifiers
next year, yeah.
Every month, you need to make sure that him and the back line are in sync. And I think that if you're rotating him, Talavera, whatever he was doing in the previous tournaments, it's kind of like, sure, he gets the rest, but we're not in a point in qualifying where like we can rest players. I mean, you have to rest players because of like the tough 3 and 7 days. But I mean, yeah, I wouldn't see a keeper getting rotated until maybe we've got some separation at top of the the table, or until we're pretty much got it in the bag. Hopefully it ends up being like that. But yeah, I think that he's doing the right thing by playing him all 3 fixtures. And if Ochoa was going to rest a game with America, I mean, it would probably be this one, because then, you have Philadelphia, and there's no way he's not going to play in that one. So I think it will be interesting to see if he plays on Saturday or not, actually, yeah.
And you know what? I think he does. It's and like I keep telling people, I've seen something in Ochoa that I haven't seen in a while, ever since he came back from the Olympics. There's kind of like this, I don't want to say a spark in him, but it's just kind of this, he's oozing confidence in ways that I haven't seen before. And he's like, I'm playing because I'm playing, and no one's going to tell me otherwise. Like, he is on form right now. And so I expect him to play against Mazatlan. The man knows he wants to go into this World Cup as sharp as possible, and I think he knows in order to do that, you got to play consistently. And so he wants to play everything. So again, we'll see whether or not he gets to start against Mazatlan. I don't get it past him. I think he will. But even if he doesn't, I think it do him good. Get a little bit of rest. Get ready for Philly, and I think we're all in safe hands with Oscar Jimenez. Let's be honest. So let's see what happens, right? We'll question that. But now that we talked about a little bit about this, let's talk about potential lineups here, AJ. I'll just go with mine, and then you add or take off whatever you don't like, and then we'll discuss. And Ivan could do the same. But I'm going with the typical back four. I think, like we mentioned, Ochoa starts in net, and then we have, I think, Miguel Ayun starts on the right. I think Jorge Sanchez gets some minutes against Panama tomorrow, so I don't think he gets the start against Mazatlan. Again, no need to risk this player, especially knowing that Philadelphia is coming up, and they are fast. So, gonna have to probably secure George.
Isn't he coming off a red anyways from the last game, or was that one before?
No, George is who got a red, AJ?
And the last time that we played?
No. Last do we even have a player on the red?
Somebody had a red, no, the last game against Leon.
Yes. Richard Sanchez.
Richard Sanchez.
Okay. So he automatically gets the rest, and he was one of the international players that you thought automatically would get the rest.
That was intentional,
Yeah. The guy knew already. Yeah. So I'm going Miguel Ayun at right back. I'm going Luis Fuentes at left back. Controversial, I know, but hear me out. Emma Aguilera and Bruno Valdez in the center. And then, of course, in the midfield, we're going to go Pedro Aquino and Fernando Madrigal. In the two holding positions. At cam, I'm going to have Fidalgo. On the right, I'm going to have Mauro Lainez. On the left, I'm going to have Salvador Reyes up top. I think Federico Viñez gets to start. So, with that said, AJ, what do you add? What do you take out? What would you do?
Who you have on the right again?
I have Mauro Linus.
Mario Linus. And then on the left, you have
You said Reyes,
Chava.
right?
Yeah.
On the left,
pretty
Chava.
sure.
No, on the left,
Chava?
Chava. Yeah.
And then Venus gets to start, and then Fidalgo on the camp. Oh, no, it seems to be solid. Midfield, I mean, I feel there's going to be like a lack of creativity just because they're two center defensive mids is what you're putting in there, even though Madrigal technically could play as a center mid. So if you need to move him away from being full on defense, you could put him as a CM. But all in all, I mean, I can agree with the starting 11. Seems solid, and it's happy to see Vinas if it does get the start. Good for him. This is going to build on that momentum, and who knows, especially for the upcoming CONCACAF Champions League match against Philadelphia Union. So definitely it's going to be good for his confidence, and hope to see him get a goal or two against Mazatlan.
Definitely. Ivan, what do you think?
I don't think Viñas starts. I think that he had a good showing against Chivas, but I don't think that he's at the point where he's going to start the game. Will he sub on? I think that he could definitely get some minutes as a sub, but I don't think he's going to start. I think that they'll probably go with Roger Martinez at the 9.
Okay, interesting. Well, look, Chris seeing Solari, I don't expect a big rest. And if that is the case, then I expect Mauro Linus to get dropped to the left, Cordoba to play on the right, and then Chava Reyes most likely gets the rest. And Luis Fuentes continues the left back spot. And then, of course, like you said, Roger would probably start in the 9 position, seeing as kind of that's his go-to guy right now up top. Which again,
yeah, I just don't see him. I don't see him like abandoning that just because I think that. I mean, for the most part, I think Roger's been in reasonable form this season. I think that even when he's not on the stat sheet per se, he does a lot of dirty work that a 9 should be doing by dragging defenders and creating space for some of those guys on the wing to kind of get into the box. So yeah, I don't see Solari switching the top guy for Viñas just yet per se.
Yeah, and talking about that, I mean, you have Roger Martinez coming off a goal, right, in international break. So again, maybe you want to play off that confidence and ride it as high as you can. So I can see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, you have Chris saying his lineup is going Ochoa, Layun, Aguilera, Valdez, Reyes, Aquino, Madrigal, Fidalgo, Roger, Henry, and Linus. Drop Roger more to the right-hand side, which, again, he's capable of doing. Again, I don't know if he wants to do that, though. Mary Jane saying Venus needs to start, Solari needs to rotate los delanteros. And rightfully so, right? Because these guys are coming off international break. That's a lot of traveling. So we have Jacob saying Venus as a striker and Roger as right wing. And Chris saying Henry scored 2. That's also true. So I mean, a lot of stuff that Solari maybe needs to take in consideration.
See, but again, that's just like it's a good problem to have because you see the depth. There's so many possibilities, and it's just exciting.
It is, and I think that's the one headache every manager wants, right? It's all of my guys up top are scoring. So yeah, this is ideally what we'd always wanted, and hopefully he's able to kind of put a good piece together against Mazatlan. Now, Angel, you said Camilo Zambeso is probably the guy to look out for. Talk to me a little bit about their form. I'm trying to look up right now where Mazatlan is at the table. And
they're 12th, and they're 0 in the last 5. They've not won a game in who knows, maybe before that.
Okay, so I'm looking at it right now. Last 5 games, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the last game they played was one against Pachuca. So
lots of draws. Plenty of losses. They've been 3-0 twice in their last 5 games, which was against Leos and Tigres. They do show fight, though, against the teams that they did happen to draw. They scored in total 5 goals in that time as well. But really, I mean, Camilo Santos is just really the focal point of that entire attack, really. He's deadly. You see when he's completely healthy and 8 feet in the ball. If he gets any kind of open space at any point, Ochoa would just better prepare himself. So for our defense, really, while we will only really need to focus on him, mostly just Emma and Bruno just going to be as sharp as they possibly can be, because we do not want to have another snooze fest like we did last season against Mazatlan, where our only goal came off of an own goal. So hopefully this time things are different, and may we not have Emilio Sanchez score against us at Leydex. I really hope that El Nino, when this guy's like, 25, 26. So
That guy's 28, I think, at this point. AJ,
What?
he's no kid. I'll tell you that much.
He's got the
Uh,
AJ baby face. That's why.
Yeah, it's the AJ babyface effect. I see it. Chris Brand saying, just to kind of put in perspective, Emilio Sanchez and Colula are their starters. So that should give you some kind of connotation as to who we're going up against. Again,
But at
though,
the same time, though, I just want to interject and say, like, to kind of what AJ was saying. I mean, Mazatlan sure is sitting 12. They haven't won in 5 games. They've had, they've been drilled 3-0 multiple times. But they're a team that makes themselves hard to beat. They're a team that'll play you hard for 78 minutes, and then in the last 12, oh dang, you scored 3 on them. So you got
yeah.
to be careful because they're when on the attack, they're definitely a very vertical team, like AJ was saying, and we don't always do the best against those type of teams.
Yeah, and look, I can see this game being a little scrappy for America, right? We're coming into this one everyone's thinking, oh, Mazatlan hasn't won in their last 5. America's top of the league. Like 3-0 is what everyone's expecting, right?
It's going to be like that
Reality
Juarez
is,
game, right? With that Juarez
yes,
game, everyone thought they were going to get blown out or blow them
exactly.
out, and then
And that's the thing. It's like, I expect more of that scrappy game than a complete blowout, because too I see there's going to be some rotation. There's going to be some tired legs out there, and so I understand this might get a little bit chippy for America, but these are the type of games where you kind of have to rely on your Fidalgos, on your Cordobas, on your Rogers to kind of pull a little bit out of nothing and make things happen for the team. When a team like Mazatlan will sit deep and try to get you on the counter. Because let's face it, that's what they're
Mhm.
going to do. They have speed. They know that they can unleash Camilo Sanbeso. He can outrun both Bruno and Emma. So we understand what the tactic is going to be coming into this. It's just, are we capable of being creative enough in that final third to get the goals? I don't know, AJ.
It's because you're mentioning that because I've been looking at their last results. They have played a match where they featured 5 in the back, but a lot of formations either revolves around with 3 defenders. So in that final third, they definitely need to be taking advantage of what comes before that final third. It's their midfield. You have 5 essentially midfielders. You have one on the left, one on the right, and you'll have 3 right in that midfield. So really the challenge is for this America side really is just having to just get past that midfield, because if we are starting plays, if you can have like your Ryers, your Viñas, Fidalgos, Lainez, who's definitely got the pace and the physicality to be able to take on defense in that final third, they're going to need to just get through that midfield. They can get through that midfield. From there on, the defense, it's really all up to them to make the most of those open spaces that they have, because they only have 3 defenders to work with. If one of them gets caught right off, then from there on, you have your other 3 that are right up front with you to take advantage of at that point. We don't want to end up in, especially I really hope we don't see a repeat against what we did against Leon when we were occasion on 4v2s, 4v3s. We simply cannot finish it. So really, it's up for America to take advantage of Mazatlan if they're going to be playing with a 3 at the back like they usually do.
Yeah, it's being more decisive in that final third, right? Make the correct pass and hopefully finish your chances whenever you get a licking. So we'll see if the team is capable of doing right. Whoever starts has to kind of go out there, showcase. I mean, if the Tentis is going to be playing, let's hope he uses his ability and his speed to put something in for hopefully whoever's in that number 9 position to tap it in. And, ideally, we're expecting America to get the 3 points. They need to get the 3 points. I think this is the last game you can quote unquote call easy in our table, in our schedule, because what's coming up next is no joke. I'm talking Philly. I'm talking Toluca. Then we have Chivas. I mean, this month is gonna be hectic for America. So they need to start it off strong against Mazatlan and finish off big against your rivals Chivas. So we'll see. Again, a lot is on the line for America at this point. And granted, I didn't think we'd come into this game as league leaders at this point of the season, right? The team gave me a little bit of doubts, but we're here. Let's continue to build upon that, because we know right across, you turn that corner and it's a doozy.
Yeah, but I think these are the types of games that have got us to this point, right? Those games where they're a little gritty, they're a little, kind of, you don't know what you're gonna expect from the other team. They're not in the greatest form, so you could technically many times America does undermine those teams. But I think it's been these types of games that you kind of like, you get through them and you manage a way to find a victory, regardless if it's pretty or not. These are the types of games that have got us to where we're at. And so I think that, jornada 8, ocho, so it's like we're halfway. You want us, again, you would hope that you're building momentum and because if we get through this, I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but if you get through this stretch of September, you know, October could be, very kind to us in the sense of just kind of like you have San Luis, you have a Pumas that you kind of never know what you're gonna get. Then you have a couple matches at the end that are, more difficult, like Cruz Azul and Monterrey. It always just gives us trouble. But I mean, you really have to seize this moment to then be in a better position, later in the league where you're not worried about, fighting for, I don't know, the 1 point or whatever against Pumas. You're not worried about a potential, how Tigres is gonna, at home gonna go. And I think these are the games that have gotten us to where we're at right now. So it's important that we keep this momentum going. And regardless of how it happens, we just need 3 points.
Yes, and whilst that is true, I think at this point, 8 jornadas in, AJ, it's hard, right? It's hard for me to say this, but we need to see a little bit more of that style and identity continue to build and show for America for as much of 90 minutes as possible. It's been difficult. I get it. There's had to been rotation. There's been injuries. I mean, the lack of no right winger, it definitely doesn't help that he can't execute his gameplay the way he wants to. But we need to see a much more well-rounded America because once like your jornada 11, 12 kicks in, it's like, come on, we need to be playing for something. We can't just be relying on scrapping 3 points here and there because that's not how you win a Liguilla. So it's important to kind of build on that foundation that we've established and now get some identity, get some momentum, which I think we've been carrying it. But again, it's just, continuing to have it is important. So again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I like Chris saying Chivas is an easy game. Yeah, it's a classical, so you never know. Okay, that's the only reason why.
We already beat those guys. We get the 3 points from the weekend.
I wish
Just
it
roll
worked
them
that
over.
way.
Roll
Believe
them
me.
over. Roll them over.
Roll them over, please. Roll them over. But we'll see. Again, chippy, scrappy game potentially. I mean, it's gonna go either ways. Two ways: a chippy, scrappy game for America, or a complete blowout against them, against Mazatlan. Excuse me. So we'll see what happens. Again, the biggest thing here is knowing that you come off with a good victory and you rest some key players because Philadelphia is right around the corner. I know we have that 2-0 advantage coming into their stadium, but again, it's not comfortable enough for me. 2-0 is very deceiving. So we got to go with our A game against them. So again, rest some players, make sure you're doing the right thing, and then we'll see what happens on Wednesday against Philadelphia.
Yeah, no. Just everything you've been talking about America, I would hope that, by the very end of the season, we finalize our play style, the formations, the lineup. This is what we want to see because from time and time again, it just seems like where some of the doubts from America fans come in, it's in Liguilla. And you know how our last two results have been in the Liguilla in prior seasons. We just lose in quarterfinals. You just don't want to see that. While, yes, now Salah's dealing with the issue. We don't have that right midfielder we on work. So, he can't fully utilize the play style formation that he wants to complete because we just got no right midfielder. So you're going to have to go with what you have. But hopefully with that little bump in the road, you'll be able to overcome it. And at the very end, most important, you lift that trophy that every Americanista wants to see and give us that 14th title. But just, this game against Mazatlan, though, you definitely want to get the win against them because later down the road, it's going to definitely be some tough opposition that we playing against, and you definitely don't want to be dropping any points against them because in worst case that come, we do start dropping points. We could see a drop in form, confidence, everything. You just don't want that to happen.
No, yeah, completely agree with you, AJ. Completely agree with you. But all right, gentlemen, let's talk about predictions here. If Christian was here, I think he'd say we definitely are betting the house. So with that mentality in mind, Ivan, what is your prediction for Saturday's game against Mazatlan?
I'm going to go 1-0.
1-0, chippy, gritty. I like it. I can see it, and I can vouch for it as well because I think that's a very Solari game. But it's a clean sheet. And you know me. Whenever there's a clean sheet, I'm happy.
I'm a defender. I like clean sheets too.
Who doesn't?
Definitely. AJ, what is your prediction?
Let's go 2-0 because that's technically 3-0 under Solari. We're never scoring 3, so sticking 2-0.
We still yet to score 3 goals in this season, by the way. Can this be the game to happen, or are we gonna wait until Chivas? We'll see. I'm gonna go. I was also gonna go 2-0, AJ, but I don't want to sound so repetitive, so I'll say 2-1. 2-1 to America. It breaks my heart to say that because
You just gave the clean sheet, man. What do you mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say 3-0. Like, come on.
I know, but I mean,
we're not gonna get a 3-0. But
I mean 0-0 is technically a clean sheet. You didn't want to be repetitive like me and Ivan.
we don't tie this game. We don't tie this game. We don't tie this game.
We cannot tie this game.
Yeah, no, that's definitely 2 points dropped. So yeah, I'm going 2-1. People are giving us their predictions here. Jacob saying 2-0. Brace from Viñas.
Oh, let's go.
I like it. Diego saying 3-1 to America. Like it. Like it. Finally breaking that 3-goal curse, AJ.
Hey.
Mary Jane saying 2-0 goal de Viñas. All right. People really loving Viñas. They really want him to score. It looks like that's kind of the narrative. And let's hope he does. You know, that only brings joy to the Americanismo. And I'm pretty sure it brings a little joy to Solari as well.
Look, like, this is the kid that we first brought who at one point was literally going to retire to become a canicero in Uruguay. He got the sign to America, and the rest is history from there. Now we want to give everyone a reason to why we signed this kid in the first place. He's scoring goals for us. You like to see that smile on his face, all of his teammates hugging when he scores. Let's keep it up. We only want positive vibes, really, for Viñas. We want the best out of him, and most important, make Solari happen. Even though I feel this man just doesn't crack a smile in the game at times. The only thing you ever see him do on the pitch when we score, he just looks at the behind the bench. He's like, "Get ready, start running." Or even to his assistant. Only his assistant ever celebrates Solari's just either adjusting the mask or just going up to either talk to a player or something about like one little thing they did wrong. But
it sounds like you missed El Piojo, AJ. I think you missed.
No, stop! I don't want to see fights every time or him getting a yellow.
You want to see a gif of him running around looking like a red toad. Pass out from how tight his tight is.
Look, the only person I'll deal with getting yellow cards currently is Craig Harrington currently. That is it. That's the only person I'll deal with getting yellows when he argues. That's it.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you know, we'll see what happens. Also, a funny thing to note, and I didn't mention this, but some of the coaching staff for Solari was at the Dallas Mall when I was there. So oddly enough, I saw them.
They're trying to stay cool because it's hot.
I'm sure the hotel is. It's funny because Ivan, you know Kari as well, and so we were just hanging out. We were together, and we went to go get she wanted lemonade. I wanted a quick snack. And we were by the food court. I just happened to see these two guys with an America like just t-shirt and some blue tracksuits. And AJ, you know which blue tracksuits I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Those turquoise kind of bluish.
Those are.
I'm like, you can't buy those. You can't buy those unless you bought them through the Amish shop, right? Which is only available in Mexico. And they don't ship over here for what I know. So
they don't. And it makes me so mad because they always have the team polo, which I always want. They always have the the full get up, which I can't get. And it's just like, come on.
So I saw that and I saw someone that looked so familiar. I was like, where have I seen this guy? I think I've seen this guy on TV. And I was like, oh, it's the coaching staff for Solari. They're at the mall. So it was cool. So it was nice seeing them kind of, looking like normal human beings, right? Because we forget sometimes that they're just human, So it was nice. Absolutely. It was cool, but cute. A little bit of a snippet of what happened. I was able to see some of them at the mall, so that was pretty cool. But all right, gentlemen, pretty much that wraps it up for Mazatlan. Unless any of you guys have anything else to say.
Free Chucho Lopez. I'll always say that.
Oh,
free him against Mazatlan, man. This is the time. Who knows?
AJ, if he couldn't get minutes in an exhibition match against Chivas, what makes you think he's going to get minutes against Mazatlan?
I have hope. It's like America fans thinking we can score 3 goals under Solari. Stop.
I don't know. I think most have accepted it. It's just we're finally just cruising.
Oh,
as
no.
long as we
Let me
win.
go say this. It's like America fans saying we could sign a foreigner immediately. Yeah, with what money? So
Oh, okay. No.
that's more realistic than the.
Oh, I keep bringing everyone back to earth whenever they say that. Let me just tell you that much. But all right, then. That pretty much wraps it up for us here. I just want to say thank you to AJ. Thank you to Ivan as well for coming on today's episode. Really, truly appreciate it. Again, favorite time of the week, been able to talk all things Aguilas with you guys. And thank you to everyone that was out here in the chat, to Mary Jane, Diego, Chris, Jacob. If I'm missing anyone else, I'm so sorry. But yes, thank you to everyone out here. Thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to everyone that we saw at Dallas, and to everyone that continues to like and retweet all of our stuff. Really means the world to us. We'll be back next week to talk Philadelphia Union against the CONCACAF Champions League. Maybe Ivan, you'll join us for that one. I think that will be fun. And we're gonna have some Philadelphia experts on the podcast as well. As to who that will be, well, you guys have to wait and find out via Twitter. AJ, we'll be back here Thursday to talk all things Lady Aguilas as well. This should be fun. We'll talk about what was not embarrassing, but more of a disappointing result against Pumas in a game where I thought we should definitely walk away with 3 points. And again, we'll see what happens. But again, thank you to all you guys for joining us today. Chris with the last comment saying, Ivan, the only one who didn't believe the Vidal rumors, and still to this day will not believe them. All right, you guys have a wonderful time out there. You guys stay safe out there. We'll be talking very, very soon. As always, please wear your masks and stay safe. Until next time. And as always, Arriba America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.